It's great to connect with Markus Eisele, who is a director of evangelism at Lightbend and the selection chair at Index. We're developer communities by the Bay, multiple meetups, SF Scala, SF Spark, Reactive Systems, Bay Area AI, SF Hadoop, and more. And actually, I've been working with Lightbend for a long time on Scala, so it's really great to have so many shared points. I'm super excited to ask Markus to share the details about Index Conference. So Markus, maybe you can tell us a little bit about of the overall structure of the conference. Who is it for? Who is benefiting the most from it, and why developers should come to Index?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alexey. It's actually great talking to you again. We have been working together for quite some time, so it's an honor to actually meet you again in the context of Index. So yeah, what is Index? That's probably the number one question I got asked lately. So I think the easiest answer is Index is an open developer community event. What makes it very special is the fact that it's not only created by a big company with a very, let's say, single-minded selection committee. It's actually curated and created by leading members of various communities, as you already pointed out. Like the program committee is pretty diverse, and we actually are all experts in our fields and have like the pulse of our communities right there. And that allowed us actually to shape a really broad program with more than 100 sessions in 8 parallel tracks. And there's not only a technical focus, but the focus ranges from platforms over to topics like artificial intelligence, machine learning, but we're also looking into production deployments, like real life coverage, real life experiences that people actually have. And what is also important, it's not only for developers, it's also for architects. But you should definitely bring a decent hunger for code, because that's what you're going to see. It's a developer conference, right? So, and whenever we can, we'll make it freely available after you.
I was really excited to see the community day, which starts this conference.
Right, that's literally the day zero. And there'll be all kinds of communities on site, Node.js communities, Spark, like there's something for everybody. And we just made room to host those various communities and give them the opportunity to connect, to share their knowledge, to share their passion about what they want to talk about. So yeah, it's probably going to be industry's biggest new developer conference.
Yeah, I was really excited about the community day because it's free, right? So day zero, and it's connecting multiple sessions. I think there are 24 sessions already going on, and I actually invited all of our meetups to that day, and I also am passionate about the space. Actually, one of the concepts which we created by the Bay community is called the SMAC stack, right? In which Lightbend, I think, was one of the original participants. That actually, I will not, disclose the whole kind of intrigue, but we are unveiling SMAC 2.0. For a couple of years, we kind of seen the evolution, and so we're gonna kind of propose multiple architectures, right? And so we said from the beginning the letters can stand for different things, and K, might be not just Kafka, but maybe Kubernetes as well. And what and S can be streaming, right? And many other components. So what I found that when I looked at the community day, that many possible different versions of SMAC, the future SMAC stacks already represented in the community day. So the communities which come there, we have Kubernetes, we have Cloud Foundry, we have Spark, right? We have TensorFlow. So multiple new components of end-to-end data pipelines, a lot of them supporting machine learning and data mining, they're already there. So I really, an open API, for instance, right? We hosted Swagger folks since 2013, and now we see the evolution of this, right? So a lot of the stories we track together, and I'm personally excited about all the things I found when I went to community day. So tell me, Markus, what are some of the talks which excite you the most? Which talks do you want to go to yourself?
That's a good question. I don't really have a lot of ultimate favorites. My personal biggest challenge in my professional career has always been struggling with that lifelong learning aspect. So everything that has to do with people and how they actually learn, like the human side of technology. So the complete track has a lot of interesting sessions. I actually interviewed Holly Cummins from IBM just a couple of days ago, and she talked about what it takes to be super efficient, to have fun at work, and to like those aspects actually are my personal favorite. And I think Bob Lord just unveiled that the IBM Q quantum computer prototype is actually going to be at Index, and
Nice.
there will be a workshop around that. And I'm not a workshop person in general. I'm more like an autodidact, but that might actually also be a tempting thing to do. But yeah, as I said, at the end of the day, it's more than 100 sessions in the conference alone, plus the community day. So there'll be a lot to choose from, and I have a feeling that I'll also have to do some like official duties on site. But
That's right.
We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, and I must say, I think the result is already amazing, right? The selection, I clearly see, how much work and insight went into this program. I will mention, a few kind of topics which I noticed, right? So the engineering director of TensorFlow, Rajat Manga, will be speaking. Will be AI talk from Facebook, right? There will be talks about the production deployments of data pipelines. I think, in my mind, if you want to build a startup, right, you can basically go to Index, participate in the workshops, kind of map your trajectory through the talks. And I personally think, you can come home with the startup blueprint in your pocket, in your mind.
It's even more than that. It's obviously not only startups. I mean, the idea is that you have 3 full days of knowledge packed for you to choose from all the topics that are tomorrow's topics. And as I said, again, like the lifelong learning aspect, like we have to spend a significant amount of our time to stay up to speed with recent developments, with technologies that we're engaged in, with stuff that really interests us, right? So we have 356 days in a year that we actually need to be ready for tomorrow, and that we need to keep an eye on the tracks. And it's really interesting that the opportunity you get with Index to have a reasonable head start for your year ahead within just 3 days. And besides that, it's as I said, it's going to be fun because there'll be a lot of our peers, a lot of networking spaces. We will have a very nice event that is packed with developers to share knowledge, to learn about each other from each other.
Yes, I like the slogan on the homepage for the conference. 3 days, which will get you prepared for the next 365 days. Right?
Honestly, it won't solve the lifelong learning problem, and I guess it won't be the solution for a complete year. But the head start is pretty real. So you can really catch latest developments and get the latest news from the industry's biggest speakers.
So Markus, I want to kind of maybe share with our speakers. I think we have huge synergy going on here, right? So you're at Lightbend, so I'm one of the founders of SF Scala, the biggest Scala meetup in the world, in the Bay Area, right? So we track a lot of technologies which Lightbend does for years, and Lightbend and IBM have a partnership, right? And IBM serves its enterprise customers with a lot of the same technologies. Maybe you can kind of, for our viewers who are not familiar with all of the tech, maybe you can outline basically what technologies from Lightbend IBM is using, what are the kind of set of offerings, because I think they cover a lot of technologies used in the modern enterprise. So maybe you can kind of outline for us key offerings which IBM and Lightbend together promoting the open source, which is core of our open source community here in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty straightforward and easy answer. So what combines IBM and Lightbend is that we both love Scala and Java, right? So we love the enterprises. We want to solve problems. In the analytics space, backed by Scala, in the enterprise space, backed by the reactive platform, even with Java as a programming language. And the offering that we have at the very moment is the reactive platform, Lightbend's reactive platform, that can be run on IBM infrastructure. And I'm pretty sure you will see a couple of more things that I shouldn't probably talk, but yes, this is a very broad partnership with some very big goals, actually, to bring reactive programming principles to a broader audience. And I mean, me as a director of developer advocacy, honestly, I'm more interested in the adoption of our open source technologies in general. So people who want to be safe and secure for the future and for the next developments to come should definitely take a look at Akka, Play, Logom, and make sure they play around with that. Logom just recently had the 1.4 release, so that's definitely a big thing for people who want to build reactive microservices on the JVM. Again, both equally equipped with Java and Scala APIs, so nobody really has to be afraid of Scala or vice versa. An interesting partnership blending to very different communities and combining them on the very bottom of our open source projects. This is what I really like, and this is what's definitely going to shape a lot of the future partnership between Lightbend and IBM.
What really excited me about this partnership, I mean, we started on the community side, part of IBM from maybe 2015, right? Because IBM created Spark Technology Center, and I think it's one of the major contributors to open source Spark, which is phenomenal. I don't think any other company actually does this, right? So there are world's best developers, Spark committers, working on enhancing the core functionality of Spark, and I think that immediately and very naturally jives with the Scala ecosystem, right? And we have now a whole set of different things, right? Kafka is written in Scala. We have reactive microservices, and with that set of tools, you can basically build the whole backend for enterprise, for startups, right? And we now see even more of this. So I'm super excited because basically almost everything we talked about in the community is open source, is interoperable, right? And you can put them together. And especially, I'm super excited about the fast data platform from Lightbend, because I think it really shows how you can venture into machine learning and AI while being type safe, which is important in mission critical enterprise applications and real-time applications, right? And I'm super excited that we have Watson on the one side, we have all this open source on the other side, right? So I'm super excited that we can really make progress on this AI future. A lot of people talk about, but now I think we have the tools to put this to use in the enterprise.
Right, and most importantly, you talked about the fast data platform. Yes, we always had the tools at hand, but the fast data platform is the first offering who actually really gives customers a combined set that frees them from actually having to build everything on their own, right? So it comes with a production-ready stack that includes everything that you potentially need. And this is for sure the most interesting offering that Lightbend has at the very moment. So yeah, I'm really excited. I would love to share a couple of more customer stories or war stories, but unfortunately, as you can imagine, that's not always possible. But yeah, keep an eye out. It's if somebody wants to look it up, it's lightbend.com/fast-data-platform, and you can definitely get in contact with us.
Sounds great. So maybe we'll kind of wrap it up by outlining what are the key reasons for developers to come to Index. What are the key learnings they can achieve, and why do you think folks should not miss this first inaugural event?
Yeah, I think I might actually have touched the most important points. The unique opportunity to learn about technologies, like a broad set of technologies in one place over just 3 days for a very small amount of money is
Mm-hmm.
the biggest USP that this conference has to offer. You'll see a lot of vendor shows, Oracle Open World, there might even be Java 1. They all have a very narrow focus on specific technologies, on specific vendors. And what they are missing is the across community adoption. And they are also missing the opportunity to look at technologies from various angles, right? Everybody's talking about reactive programming. The JavaScript community does a lot out there, but we also have a lot more on the back end. There's Pivotal and Spring, there's Lightbend and Akka, and whatever technologies we also have. So having the opportunity to look at a particular topic from various angles in one conference that is not a small community event is probably the biggest and most interesting point for me personally.
Yeah, that's really exciting to me as well. I'm actually looking forward to learn. I think I really like your point of learning. You know, I see your Twitter handle, My Fear. And my fear is that I'm not learning enough. So here actually, I'm very comfortable with the layout. It's you know, the community days, workshops, morning or afternoon. So each is 2.5 hours. And it's really good format, right? And you can actually, I think you can go into workshop and you're not, you know, it's free. So if you know, if it's not the pace or not the kind, you can check out others, right? So I think everybody will be able to find the workshop on the community day, which is free. And also I must say that for those folks who attend the community day, there is a 50% discount for the remainder of the conference, which is already about $350, which is, you know, much lower than any comparable industry conference. And and it will still, you're able to receive a 50% off if you go to one of our meetups, sfscala.org, sfspark.org. You will see the information, you'll see that call. So please go and check it out, right? And make sure you take advantage of this. I think, you know, this is the best deal in town for 3 days of learning. And one thing I also noticed in the program, there is a party, there is, you know, coffee, right? As developers, we cannot overlook the importance of coffee. So I have a feeling there will be a lot of good coffee in a good venue.
If you ever followed me on Twitter and you know how I'm around conferences, I'm mostly driven by coffee like many of my peers. So if I'm involved with the conference, there's one thing going to happen, and that's coffee. Also make sure to check out @IndexConf, our Twitter handle, especially if you're looking for discounts. And definitely everybody should make sure to follow us because we're still lacking a couple of followers on that Twitter handle. The website is indexconf.com, and we still haven't completely published this schedule. I think we're still missing a couple of sessions. Most likely you will see some more exciting announcements around keynotes. And also check out the live streaming. So that's 3 rooms per day. And if you really don't have a chance to come, that's your opportunity to actually catch up live during the conference. Another side note, we're also going to record the sessions, and they will be published after the show at some point.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Again, you know, the community is actually completing more and more sessions. So you guys should check back with the schedule and see what's going on in the community. I'm sure we'll have some great announcements about the SMAC 2.0 panel, which we'll put together, also involving some great folks from the local meetups everybody knows. You can check this on our meetups as well. And thank you, Markus. We're really looking forward for, you know, I think one of the best conferences in the Bay Area for the 28th.
Thank you, Alexy, and have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right.